Is AI for churches overhyped? Today we're going to talk about that and so much more. Ready to have some fun, Matt?
Absolutely. I'm always ready to have fun.
All right, so we did this whole presentation a few weeks ago when we were working with a lot of church planters, and just looking at the subject of AI, which everybody and their brother's talking about AI right now.
Absolutely. For the past year,
Oh
it's
my
dominated
gosh.
every conversation.
If I'm being honest, I'm a little tired of it, but at the same time, it's so necessary to talk about it because I think there's a lot of information out there that is both good, but also a lot of information that's both bad.
Yes, absolutely.
And we can kind of take this opportunity to kind of reel it back in and say, okay, like what is AI? What is the state of AI where we're at now? And how does this apply to church leaders?
Yeah. What tools are actually going to help church leaders?
Yes.
Cut through all the noise and all the salesmanship and get down to what we've experienced and what actually works.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. Now, I just want to give a forewarning to all of you out there. When it comes to AI, I think I speak for you and myself, Matt, we're very squeamish on it a little bit.
Yeah, we embrace it, but with a lot of trepidation.
And if you're a big Parks and Recs fan out there, then I think you would appreciate this picture of Ron Swanson. He's looking at his computer, and April's telling him for the first time about how Google can actually show where his house is.
Yes.
And then he Googles his house and finds out that Google knows where he lives, and so he throws his computer in the dumpster. And I feel like that's how I feel towards AI in many ways.
Although it wouldn't be as satisfying to throw these little MacBook Airs into the dumpster as that big old desktop.
It'd be very expensive to do that as well. But now let's talk about some tools. Now that we've kind of set the scale of, okay.
Yeah, we've set the stage. Now let's talk about actual tools. And these aren't just, we're not just going to talk about random things that are cool and interesting, but stuff that you as a church leader, whether you're a pastor, a secretary, children's ministry, youth pastor, worship leader, podcaster, everybody, whether if you're in the church leadership space in any capacity, you can use at least one of these tools, if not multiple.
I think so. So the first one I thought was really cool. This is from Adobe. It's called their speech enhancement.
Okay.
This one...
It can make me a better speaker?
I mean, I'm trying...
It can enhance my speech?
That would be nice. Maybe one day. But this one, I don't want to keep saying blowing my mind because at some point it's just like, all right, how many times is your mind going to be blown here, Wes?
Yeah.
But this one did really surprise me because I was not expecting a free tool to do this. So what it does is it takes your speech, it takes all of that background noise and stuff.
Well, it takes an audio file is what you mean. Yeah. You take a file, an audio file of your speech. You can even pull it out of a video and just have the audio of a video dropped in, and it'll clean it up.
Yes. So what I did is I walked around the office while you were talking on the phone, actually. Yeah. I walked right by you with my iPhone, and I was just recording just a quick conversation. I want you all to hear this because this is a before and after of using this tool. So I'm walking around the office. People are talking on the phone. That's Matt talking. Let me go to the kitchen real fast. And then I'm gonna see if I can maybe heat up my coffee because it got too cold. So I'm gonna heat up my coffee. Open up the microwave. All right, so we'll heat it up my coffee and then I'm gonna go ahead and set it for 30 seconds and start. Microwave is running and I'm still talking. So I'm curious what this is going to sound like as the microwave is running and I am talking into the phone. So I'm walking around the office.
Where's all the background
People are talking on the phone.
Still blows my mind.
Let me go to the kitchen real fast. And you were talking that whole time.
Yeah.
Couldn't even hear it.
And then
I'm gonna see if I can maybe heat up my coffee because it got too cold. So I'm gonna heat up my coffee. I opened up the microwave. All right, so we'll heat up my coffee and then I'm gonna go ahead and set it for 30 seconds and start. Microwave is running. And I'm still talking. The microwave's running. So curious what this is going to sound like as the microwave is running and I am talking into the phone. That is a crazy tool. Why I love this tool, Matt, is it's free for audio only. Yeah. And I think a lot of church leaders will benefit from this because one of the things I've encountered with a lot of churches that are, just getting new to the live streaming or getting new to putting out their podcast is the audio is one of the most important things. And it can be a challenge of getting a really good audio.
Well, pastors are trained theologians and public speakers, not audio engineers. Mm-hmm. And a lot of churches don't have all the equipment to make that like really easy, like a soundproof room and all that.
No. And to be able to take an iPhone and get really good sound quality from just an iPhone walking around an office, pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Another reason I like it works surprisingly well, and it's very simple to use because all you do is just drag and drop the file, done. The only cons I would say is for video you have to pay unless you do, strip the audio out of a video and then drop the audio in.
Yeah.
It's an extra couple of things, but regardless. And then last, it's a beta product. And beta products, sometimes they can be iffy. Sometimes they come out with the product and then all of a sudden they're like, when they actually release the real version, then you have to pay for it. So that could happen here. But in the meantime, I think this is kind of a slam dunk for church leaders needing good sounding audio for their sermon or their podcast, whatever it may be. HAEN, this is another tool that I think is pretty incredible.
This one's it's almost creepy.
No, it's definitely creepy.
It's definitely creepy. Okay.
All right. So let me just show you. So here's HAEN. It is a video program. I'm going to play this video. Watch this.
There is so much more to Miami than beaches and nightlife. Miami embraces Hispanic heritage, Caribbean heritage, Haitian, European, and more.
She needed to use that speech enhancement tool beforehand. Now, let's play the next video. The exact same video, but it was put through this tool called HAEN, and watch what it did.
Hay mucho más en Miami que playas y vida nocturna. Miami abraza la herencia hispana, caribeña, haitiana, europea y más.
Is she bilingual?
No, she's not.
That's what blows my mind. You actually did this on yourself once.
Yes.
You put one of our videos, ChurchTrac videos, into this just to see what it would do. And it's like you were a fluent speaker overnight.
Crazy. And what's nuts about this is it's multiple languages. Yeah. It's not just like English and Spanish. I think it was like 40-something languages they support.
Oh my goodness.
So why do I love this tool? It is absolutely insane.
It's crazy.
To be able to take video of yourself and then make that video into any language you can imagine.
Yeah.
That's unreal. And it saves you a lot of time if you're a bilingual church.
Yeah.
Let's say you're a pastor of a bilingual church and you want to get an announcement out.
The pastor of the last church I was at, he's bilingual, English and Spanish. Yeah.
Yes. And so for someone who's a bilingual pastor who has a bilingual, congregation, they need to be able to easily get a message out in both languages. And this tool makes it to where they only have to record it once and it goes out in both languages.
Yeah, they don't have to record for both languages and do multiple takes of each. That can take a long time.
Yes, it can. Now, cons, it's not free. A tool like this is definitely not free. $24 a month, I think, is expensive for your average church leader.
Yeah.
But some churches may find this very beneficial. One deep caution, I would say, is it's just creepy and misleading if you're not bilingual already.
If you're not bilingual, you shouldn't do that at all.
Yeah, well, plus it's going to be weird if you have someone come up to you and they start speaking to you in Spanish, but you don't speak Spanish, but you use this tool.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be very disingenuous.
Yeah, even if you are a bilingual church, don't have someone at your church who isn't bilingual record a video and then transpose that into another language because that'll confuse people even in your context.
That's why this is definitely a niche tool that I think is really only good for a church that has a bilingual congregation and the pastor is bilingual. But
for those churches, it's a slam dunk.
Yeah, for those ones, it's like a no-brainer, but any other church, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Opus Clip. All right, this is one I thought was actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
So basically, long story short, you drop in video footage.
Okay.
And this video footage can be like a sermon that you have from your church. This video footage could be maybe like a quick 5-minute devotional or something. I don't know, whatever it may be. Any kind of video content you're wanting to put out as a church. And then this program will automatically look at that video footage and it will determine, all right, what are the best viral clips we can create with this?
Okay.
And it will put on all these subtitles on there. So like, just to show you the screenshot here, they actually show use cases for churches. And so it has these subtitles on there and everything instantly. Like it does it all without me doing a single thing.
Yeah. And I see in a lot of Facebook groups filled with church leaders asking other churches, like, what program do you use to put text, to just automatically have that text on the video?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're transcribing it.
Yes.
And adding that in. And that takes forever
yes,
to do.
It does. And now this isn't going to be 100% right. Like there's, depending on, your pastor's dialect, like if you're using a lot of slang words, audio quality, it may not use the most perfect transcription, but it's pretty close.
Yes, very close. I've seen lots of videos with this and other similar programs do really, really well in transcribing. You may find like one word that was off, but it's not even really distracting at that point.
And what's amazing is, like, as a pastor, you could take your sermon and then it'll pull out like 10 videos, and of those 10 it pulls, it may give you like a solid, 5, 6, 30 to 60 second clips of really good like points that you had in your sermon. And then those can just be shareable on social media. You put them on your Instagram, you put them on Twitter, you put them on wherever, YouTube for YouTube shorts. And it just makes, it just makes it that much easier to get the message out and encourage your people to listen to the sermon.
Well, not just to get the message out, but like increase your content creation and the output of your creativity. That's what's really useful about this tool. Is now you can feed the YouTube algorithm what it's looking for to understand whether or not your channel is worth recommending to someone else.
Yeah. I like it because it's free for light use if you're not going to be using a crazy amount, or $9 a month, which I think is...
That's pretty affordable, I think.
I think that's affordable for
under
all
$10
churches.
A month? Yeah.
Makes shorts more engaging because a lot of times when people are watching videos on social media, they don't have their audio engaged, their phone's on silent, and so to be able to still read what's happening in the video.
To watch on mute.
Yes. One sermon equals 4 to 5 clips. That's pretty awesome. The only thing I would say is it does take time to render, but you're not having to do anything. So like you can just set it.
It's another drag and drop.
Yeah.
And then go make coffee or go like read that book for your next sermon or something like that. Like just do something else while it's doing its job.
I mean, it just kind of brings me back to the days of dial-up, and I'd have to let it download my email, but show my age here. Not every clip is what I would call a banger. They're just not. So like
Can't win them all.
Half the clips it's going to pull are just not clips you'd want to share, to be brutally honest. But the other half, they're going to be pretty awesome clips that are actually going to be engaging. The free option has a watermark, so ultimately $9 a month is what it's going to take.
Okay.
All right, Recast. This is kind of a wild card I wanted to throw in there. I don't have much on this one. This one basically enables you to take like a long form article, which I know you like to read long form articles.
Yes. If it doesn't take me... If it takes me anything less than like 20 minutes to read, I'm not interested.
Yeah. And so being able to take an article and have that article that may have taken you 15 minutes to read, say, I want to listen to that article in a summary that's like 3 to 4 minutes that gives me a summary of that article, that's what this does.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool one that I like. I just wanted to throw that out there.
And is it free?
That one is free, but like to certain limitations. I think it was like $100 a year, which I think for most people, they're not going to want to use that.
Sure.
But for the free option, I think most people would find some good value out of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Grammarly, we use this all the time here.
Every day.
A lot of people don't think of Grammarly as an AI tool, but it is.
It is. It absolutely is. Not only is it using AI to understand what you're writing and give you recommendations, because it's not just spell check. Like it'll actually correct your overall grammar and give you a better tone or stuff like that. But also you can use it to generate text.
Yes.
It's got that built in too.
Yeah, I really like Grammarly just because it's free. I always say that it's like spell check with a rocket ship.
Yes.
It takes spell check to a whole nother level. And as church leaders, we're doing a lot of writing and content. And so this just helps us stay from not having terribly written things.
Well, it gives you spell check across every program you use.
Yeah.
So instead of hoping that this program has spell check built in as you type, it's just there.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go. So even as you type in like a search query in Google,
yes, it'll
correct it for you.
It only has 2 downsides. Premium version is expensive. I would never get the premium personally, but if you do a lot of writing, I guess premium would be good for you.
Pastors do.
Sometimes it's annoying because in church we have a lot of certain verbiage in our church dialect that is not really in Grammarly. Yeah, Christianese is what we speak.
Yes.
And Grammarly sometimes thinks things are spelled incorrect that aren't.
That you know is right, but it's just because it's a niche thing.
Yeah. But that's another good tool for church leaders, AI tool. Matt, we have to talk about Canva.
We have to talk about Canva. And we say we have to. We talk about Canva all the time. It's a great tool for churches because it's basically Photoshop for dummies.
Yes.
And I'm one of the dummies. I use Canva like almost every day.
I do too.
Almost every single day I'm in Canva making something. It's a great platform for creating all sorts of visual media, whether it be flyers that you're printing out or social media posts or sermon slides or even video. You can do a lot of video work. But the reason why we're talking about Canva in terms of AI for churches is because they've started adding a lot of AI tools to the program itself.
Yes.
I highly recommend you create an account and you test it out for yourself. But the two things that Canva has added recently that I think are going to be really beneficial to you and your church is Magic Resize and generative images. So like Magic Resize, I'll show you an example on my computer. What I'll do is I'll just type in sermon slides, and it gives me a lot of different really great recommendations. But let's say I want to take that sermon slide and I want to advertise, post about it on social media ahead of time, just to drum up interest and maybe get a few more people in the doors to hear the gospel.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll select this and I'll go ahead and say I want to customize this template. Let's pretend like I've made this sermon slide presentation. Now I want to post about it on social media. Well, instead of doing the work twice to create a whole new like Facebook image, all I have to do is click this resize and magic switch button in the top left-hand corner and say that I want to create something for social media, and I want it to be a Facebook video or a Facebook post. There we go. Click continue. And once it processes, I say resize this design, and there. That's what it does. Not only does it just make the image the right format, but it doesn't just crop. Like it rearranges and retrofits the image to fit that format.
That's crazy,
It
man.
uses AI to rearrange the elements to make it look cohesive.
And this is something that, you might have had to spend a few minutes figuring out to make it look the way you want it, and it just did it like that.
Yeah, just with a click of a mouse, it did that.
Wow.
And then also, if you're searching for a template to use for something and you just don't find something that fits what you need, you can actually tell Canva to generate something for you. So before, Canva pretty much always had something for you, but not always. There were a few times where you'd scroll through and think, none of this works. Like, I'm not going to use any of this. Well, now Canva has everything you possibly need because it will just create something on the fly for you. We highly recommend Canva. Canva gives their pro subscription for free to nonprofits. So we highly recommend you create an account, reach out to Canva and apply for their nonprofit discount. The only cons to Canva at all is like every once in a while we hear from a church that Canva didn't give their pro subscription to, or they like ran into a bunch of roadblocks and speed bumps along the way. So if that happens to you, just keep reaching out to Canva and ask them what they're missing from your application. And for the most part, I've seen churches get the pro subscription for free after that.
Yeah, and it's more so like Canva, because they're not a Christian company, they're wanting to see that your nonprofit organization is actually doing something for the community with the services they're giving you for free.
Yes.
And so that's typically the churches I find that get denied by Canva are churches that are just wanting to get a freebie, and they're not actually telling Canva like why they want to use their product. So as long as you're saying, hey, this is why our nonprofit organization wants to use your product because we want to create this stuff to engage with our community, blah, 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 you should have no problem getting Canva for free. But we'll include the link in the description below, so that way you can check that out. You can get Canva for your ministry. Such an awesome tool. I love that tool.
It's a huge home run for churches.
We're probably going to have to do another video on Canva just because it's such a good one.
We've already done 2.
I know. We'll do another.
Yeah.
All right. So Canva, we talked about a lot of other tools. Let's talk about the big one. We saved the best for last.
We saved the best for last, ChatGPT. We've also done a video on ChatGPT, but I'm pretty sure it was mostly just focused on pastors.
Yes.
It was ChatGPT for pastors. If you're interested, go ahead and check out that video. It'll be in the links below. But we also have tested out ChatGPT with other roles in mind.
Yes.
Because this is for more than just pastors. And if you're a secretary, if you're a children's ministry pastor, or anything else, ChatGPT can help you as well. So I put ChatGPT through its paces. And what I did recently is I sat down and I asked ChatGPT. I took a sermon outline, copied it and pasted it straight into ChatGPT and asked it if it could make like something more engaging, or if it could summarize this and put it into like some Facebook posts.
Yeah.
What was amazing is that not only was it able to give me what I was looking for, I'll scroll down and scroll to the bottom of this outline. I specifically asked it, I said, hey, can you help write 3 posts that I can use to promote this sermon? I'll be sharing them throughout the week leading up to the service. I need the posts to hint at the content, but leave the reader intrigued to learn more. That's really important. Not only did I ask it to just summarize it and give me 3 Facebook posts, I was very specific with what I wanted it to give me. That's key, because the more you give ChatGPT, the better its output will be.
Yeah.
And it gave me 3 great posts that I can just copy and paste into Facebook and then jump into Canva and grab that sermon slide and put it in there. And in like a couple minutes, I have my entire week's worth of social media posts already scheduled and ready to go.
That's insane.
That's incredible. And I didn't have to think through how to promote this.
Yeah.
I don't have to be good at that. ChatGPT is. But I went even further and said, hey, now give me 5 tweets that do the same thing. Or now give me a 250 word summary of the sermon that I can use in a midweek podcast to give listeners a hint of what to expect in the sermon. And it gave me that. And I had this all done in like under 2.5 minutes. I had all of this that I could use for my church.
Which, that's something that probably would have taken you a couple hours to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you weren't
like,
using it.
yeah, I'm familiar with social media, but I'm not like good at it in the sense of I'm not going to go viral anytime soon with anything I put out. This could, because this understands what people, like this has been trained on the internet.
Yes.
That's what ChatGPT is really good at. So it understands what's going to do well and what's going to get people's attention. So that's that use case. I also pretended like I was a children's ministry leader.
Okay.
And I said, I'm a children's church teacher. I need help planning a series of lessons for 3 to 5 year olds. I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, so that's what was on my mind.
Okay.
A lesson on Daniel and the lion's den. Can you help me plan 3 age-appropriate lessons on this topic? And Wes, not only did it give me just 3 lessons, it also recommended what to do for story time and a craft activity and discussion questions and songs to sing. It gave me songs I could sing for this. All of that was done by the program in seconds.
All right, what are some other highlights of ChatGPT if you had to give like another one?
Oh, my favorite is actually in this. I asked it for some fun activities that relate to those 3 lessons, and it gave me 3 activity options for each of the 3 lessons. And then I said, are there any snack ideas that fit into these themes? And it gave me 3 snack ideas for each of the 3 lessons.
Yeah.
That's what blows my mind, is that ChatGPT you can offload so much creative work onto these programs and save yourself a lot of time.
Yeah.
And also, like, if you're someone who's just not gifted in something, like I'm not crafty, like arts and crafts kind of person. My wife is. I am not.
Yeah.
So if I were in charge of a program like this, I would not be able to come up with enough ideas to keep these kids engaged, but this can.
Yeah.
So it's going to help you do a lot of things. You can take a lot of things that you're not good at your job and ask ChatGPT for help and ideas. As long as you're specific enough with your prompts, you'll get some really good results and it'll help you out a lot.
And by the way, ChatGPT is free, so you don't have to pay for it.
I've never paid for ChatGPT, and it's given me everything I've ever needed. Well, not everything.
Only Lord Jesus Christ can do that.
It's given me everything I've asked for.
Yeah, but now another thing I thought worth pointing out, so it's beyond just text.
Yes.
ChatGPT is now creating videos. This video here...
ChatGPT doesn't, but OpenAI, which owns ChatGPT, has created another program. What is it called again?
Sora. And this is just not too long ago. So as watching this, depending on how long ago you were watching this, but this is most recent. This is a video that was created by ChatGPT. They just prompted it saying a woman in Tokyo at night and the city lights walking, and this is what it spit out. Now, it's not perfect by any means. At some point, her leg just like switched and did like an invisible thing, which was, yeah. And like, if you watch some of the people, like this person looks like they're almost like levitating in space while walking. It's kind of weird. But that all being said, this looks really good, and as churches that are doing like B-roll footage and stuff and trying to create captivating video, maybe like, for a sermon series, I mean, this is crazy to think that this is all 100% AI generated. This isn't a real person. This isn't technically a real place. I mean, it's just pulling in all this and creating it out of nothing.
Yeah, that's what's really great about both image generation and now video generation.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of like the stock imagery that churches have been relying on can just be now produced on the fly for them, and it can be unique to their church, because every time these programs generate an image, it's something completely new.
Yeah. Now let's talk about quickly cautions and limitations of AI as we wind things up. So cautions. AI always has a bias.
Always.
There's never a situation when AI is not biased. The other thing, reliance on technology. Like as church leaders, we can't be so reliant on technology on our jobs because ultimately we should be using God's word and relying on Him. Which comes down to, misinterpretation of the Bible. If you're using ChatGPT for help in creating your sermons.
When we created a whole video on using ChatGPT to help with
watch
sermon
that
prep,
video.
It's great, but you still have to constantly check whether or not it's accurate. And again, it's also it's not for writing your sermons.
No.
It's just to help you do some of the things around sermon prep. It'll save you a lot of time in that process.
Yeah, and then lastly, a big caution, security and privacy. Anytime we're putting stuff into these programs like ChatGPT or Google Gemini, it is not private. And Google actually tells you this straight up on Gemini, which is their version of ChatGPT. It says your conversations are processed by human reviewers to improve the technologies powering Gemini apps. Don't enter anything you wouldn't want to be reviewed or used. So don't put anything personal of not only your information, but your people in your church. And then we got to talk about limitations really quick. So I think the limitations of AI are best put together by this gentleman who I watch for a lot of different things when it comes to marketing. His name's Neil Patel. He sent an email out a few months ago I read, and I saved it because I thought it was so good. There are too many AI tools. Every day people tell me about the latest and greatest tools I should check out, but to be completely honest, most of them are just a time suck. I prefer focusing on a few big players like Gemini and ChatGPT. With their capital engineers, they will eventually have all those functions anyways. You just may have to wait a few months. And I bet most of these other amazing tools won't even be around that long. Rather than sinking time and money into new features, you're better off investing in marketing strategies that are proven to work. Now, obviously, churches, we're not trying to do marketing strategies as much. We're trying to preach the Word of God.
Yes.
But this is such a good point. Like, yes, there are a lot of AI tools, even some of the ones we talked about today that are all awesome. But at the end of the day, like most of them, they can be a time suck. And it's best to just focus on a couple good ones that you actually find value out of, and don't waste your time with all the other stuff because, like he said, half of them are going to probably not be around in a few months.
Yeah, we don't want you chasing the shiny new thing. We just want you to find some tools that can come alongside the work you're doing and make it more efficient and maybe even more effective.
Yeah. So, is AI for churches overhyped?
I think it's overhyped, but it's not overblown. I think it's honestly something that can help a lot of churches.
It definitely can. But what do you think about AI? Do you think AI is something that your church should probably stay away from? Do you think it's something that you're maybe needing to embrace a little bit to make you a little bit, faster at doing ministry?
Sure. Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. Hope this was helpful for you. See ya.